Let's get ready. Hey, what's good? What's good? It's Friday. I know we've been gone a couple of weeks. I try to do every week, but sometimes life gets in the way. And but today we're back. It's Friday. It's beautiful outside. Wherever you may be, I know the weather's great. Shout out to Corona. We picking up premieres. Today I want you all, if you don't have a drink, go get you a drink. Because we're gonna start off with some storytelling. But before I get to that, I want to say thanks for those who were able to catch me live on Instagram this week. I'm just having fun, guys. I appreciate y'all support for everything. I'm really having a ball. I'm an old man. My kids are grown. I don't have nothing to do with myself. My wife works, so I just kind of have fun. They got rid of my dog, so I'm just out here. I need a car. I need a truck. I need a project, something. So in the meantime, this is what we're gonna do. So, hey Cole, I figured it out. I got comments on, guys. So you like, subscribe, leave some comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Keep them clean. Let's have some fun, and let's talk sports. So today, I want to start, before we get into the playoffs. We got a lot to talk about the playoffs, and this is going to be all NBA today. I want to tell you a little story. I'm going to give you a little story about a young man that was born in 1951 in Mullins, West Virginia. And 70 years later, his impact on the game of basketball is unquestionable, for good and bad, but the guy made a change. So in 1951, Lil Mike was born. Lil Mike was born in West Virginia. Little baby boy, older brother, boys of a basketball coach in West Virginia. So they would go on to have good high school careers. Lil Mike would go on to play in college, played in Marshall 4 years, ended up getting drafted by the Kansas City Kings. Back then they were Kansas City Kings. I actually have a cousin that played for the Kings back then with the light blue jerseys. I think Kenny Smith played for it too, but so he played for the Kings. NBA career wasn't great, so he packed his bags and went overseas. So he went overseas, very successful. 2 or 3 time European champ. Did some great things over there. After he retired from playing, he went on to become a very successful coach in the European leagues. For years to come. Never got the NBA call, but he did finally get a chance to get called into the NBA, and I believe he started off as an assistant with the Denver Nuggets. So I know you guys are like, who are we talking about? Why are we talking about this? But just stay with me, because everything we're talking about is going to lead us into what happened the other night in the NBA playoffs. So Mike's a grown man now. He's had a good career. Basketball has been his life. So he finally gets his shot in the NBA. Didn't go so well his first go around. He coached in Europe for a long time, but that didn't translate to the NBA. So finally he goes back, gets another shot with the Phoenix Suns. So he brings in a style of basketball, more of a European style that the Phoenix Suns will implement. At the time, it was called 7 seconds or less. So a very fast-paced game. When you look at the game now, when you see people in the fast break, they foul. He would tell his players, don't foul. We don't want that foul. Why? We want the ball back. So let them score the layup. We're going to get it back and shoot a 3. So by now, you probably know who I'm talking about. Mike D'Antoni. So Mike D'Antoni comes to the Phoenix Suns, has a talented roster. Amari Stoudemire, Joe Johnson, Steve Nash, Sean Marion, just loaded. And they go on some great runs. Scoring a lot of points, great basketball, exciting to watch. Steve Nash gets 2 MVPs out of that. And I'm going to pause for a second. We're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to go back to D'Antoni. Steve Nash gets 2. This is to show you how much impact he had on the game. Nash got 2 MVPs. God bless you, Kobe. He took 2 out of Kobe's hand. I'm sorry. Kobe ended up getting one that 3rd year. One of those years, Kobe averaged 35 and took Smush Parker to the playoffs. Only guy on that team was Lamar Odom. This was a pre-brothel Odom, so he was nice. but they didn't have enough, but Kobe carried them on his back. Now, you do that in today's MVP, you can become a two-time MVP for carrying a team to the playoffs and getting knocked out. So that's another conversation. This MVP, is it a full season award or is it a regular season award? That's a conversation we'll have later. So we go back. So he has a type of offense that keeps the ball in the point guard's hands. Point guard makes a lot of decisions. You run the floor, you shoot a lot of threes. So people think Steph did this. Steph just kind of elevated this three-point game, but D'Antoni brought it to the NBA. The Suns would loft him up. You think about Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson had some great years in Phoenix. They got him some big contracts. He did well in Atlanta, but he was never the same as he was in Phoenix. He was just a different kind of player. But the offense dictated that. So then we go forward. We look at the Suns. They do well. Nash gets his MVPs, but they never win. The league was trying to decide, did they want to go this route? Do we want to play this fast small ball? Because he also brought that small ball back. He played with some small lineup. Do we want to go this route, or do we want to play the traditional inside to the big man, kick it out, cut, pick and roll, but not pop out for the three? So the game changes. So you fast forward, Phoenix doesn't win. They're competitive, but they can't bring on the chip. D'Antoni gets a couple other gigs, and it doesn't work. So just stay with me. Have a drink. Just stay with me here because I'm going somewhere with this. So now you fast forward. He goes to Houston. So he gets a young kid out of OKC, who was the sixth man at OKC, and develops him into a superstar. How does he do this? He brings that same style of ball to Houston. James Harden has the ball in his hands 90% of the time, and we see some ridiculous numbers. Houston plays great. Again, they don't win the chip, but they play exciting basketball. James is putting up great numbers. We say he's top 75 now. He led the league in scoring, but if you give any guy the ball long enough, he'll lead the league in scoring. They're all pros. That's just my opinion. Could be wrong. Maybe not Smush, but some guys are gonna win. I'm sorry. That's just the Kobe in me. I'm sorry. Smush was all right. I like Smush. Anybody named Smush is good for me. So James Harden, he goes a great run, but one thing I noticed, and this is my opinion, every time they tried to pair him up with a superstar, things didn't go well. So they brought in, you had Chris Paul in there for a while. When things got a little contentious, Chris Paul had to go. James Harden lost his State Farm commercial. Chris Paul lost his State Farm commercial. Sorry, play that back. James Harden lost his State Farm commercials. Then we brought in Russ. Definitely a no-go. Didn't work in OKC, wasn't going to work in Houston. A lot of people blame Russ for that. So now Daryl Morey leaves, and Harden's not happy. So Harden want to hang down in Atlanta. He with Lil Durk. He with every rapper alive. He in the strip clubs. He got Bath and Body glitter all over him. So he's doing his thing, out of shape, just ridiculous. So he forces his way out of Houston. Now he goes to the Nets. And I'm going to speed this up so we can get to the real stuff. So he goes to the Nets. So he's with KD. So we all know how that went. This is the most drama in the NBA season I've ever seen between the Nets, the Lakers, and the Sixers. So he forces his way out of the Nets. Then we get this trade to the Sixers. Now he's back with Daryl Morey. But what's missing? He has Daryl Morey, but he's playing for Doc Rivers. And they have a big center by the name of Joel Embiid, probably MVP candidate. Could have won it, could have took home, but didn't. But still, he's a generational talent. Awesome. So now we got Harden down here in Philly, and everyone thought that was going to be great. We saw Harden, and I think we talked about it back in episodes 2 or 3. Harden looked a little re-energized, and we thought, all right, maybe he's going back to the Houston Harden. Well, no. So if you watched the game the other night, I told you I was going to get you here. So I'm glad you stuck with me. Take a break. So that game the other night, we're going to talk about the series, and we're going to start with the Sixers and the Heat. The last time I saw a superstar take 2 shots was when Kobe played Sacramento, and they were saying Kobe shot too much. And he said, I'm going to show you what happens when I don't shoot. And the man did not shoot the ball in the second half and proved his point, but that was Kobe. Now, James Harden took 2 shots last night. 2. This man shot for 35 a game. And it ain't nobody on that team should be taking more shots than him or Embiid. So now the question becomes, if you saw a post game, rumors are already starting. I told you I'd bring you back here. Mike D'Antoni is going to replace Doc. Doc could get fired in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. And he was a little pissed if you caught the interview last night. But this is not Doc's fault. Doc inherited this guy. I mean, this was a Daryl Morey move. Doc had his issues with Ben, whatever they had, but is James Harden going to force Doc Rivers out of Philadelphia? And now, once he does that, what happens to Embiid? Does Embiid get forced out too? So now it's Harden and whatever bums he can pick up, and it's Harden and D'Antoni and Morey, the Three Stooges, back together again. We saw how it worked. It's not going to work. So anyway, so now we're back. So I got you here. So now we're going to talk about these playoffs. The Heat, playoff Jimmy. Did you see Jimmy in his interview? He had on a sweet bucket hat. You get it? Jimmy Buckets. I thought that was kind of cool, but that's me. I like Jimmy Buckets. But we got playoff Jimmy now. The Heat are the defense. So, you know, I was talking about D'Antoni's offense. I still believe, you know, the NBA's defense win championships. You got to have a combination. You can't do one or the other. You got to play defense. You got to be able to put the ball in the basket, and the Heat showed us that, right? They, you know, shout out to Max Strus, one of Chicago's finest, playing great, 20 and 10. The Heat are just peaking at the right time, but that's we talked about them too as well. That's their MO. That's how they play the game. Philadelphia really has some soul searching to do going into next year, into this offseason. They got a $47 million problem with James Harden. If he opts in, he can get $47 million. The question now is, this guy's 30. I think James like 33, 34, maybe 33. Is he worth a max contract? Like if he chooses to opt in, what happens next year? I think we're about to see a lot of these guys in their 30s getting you're not worthy of a max deal. I'm sorry. It's a lot of dudes making $40 million and just don't get it. They're not worthy of it. So I'm done with that one. So let's get off of them. The Heat won. The Heat will go on and play the winner of the Bucks and the Celtics. Now this has been a 80s series of basketball. A lot of defense, some great players. We look at who we got, you know, Marcus Smart, Grimy, Giannis, Bobby Portis has stepped up, Drew Holiday. We'll talk about Drew, how he won the other night. The Celtics guys, and I don't know why people thought they could split those two dudes up, but Tatum and Brown are something the Celtics should hold on for a long time. But I know a lot of people, and I've been with Giannis the whole way. I just feel that Giannis is that guy, and I think he showed it the other night. This wasn't a game that the Celtics lost. This was a game that the Bucks took. Giannis took over, and I know people say he put his head down and go to the rim. Well, guess what? If you can't stop me going to the rim, I'm going to keep going. So Giannis is doing his thing right now, and I think he's hit that level where I'll say it. He's in that Mike and Kobe mindset. Like nothing's gonna stop him right now. The man, it was one of those special moments. He running down the court. He had blood on his face. Wipe the blood off and let's play. I think Giannis has turned the corner to stardom, to greatness, and we're about to see something very special here over the next few weeks. Drew Holiday, I was really pissed at him throughout the course of that game. I thought he was taking bad shots. I thought he was taking the ball out of Giannis's hand, but he shut me up because he hit some big shots. And the two plays he made on Marcus Smart at the end of the game, the steal at half court, and then the block where he just snatched and put it under his arm. Great defensive play, maybe some of the best playoff defense we've seen in a long time. So tonight is going to be good. We're actually probably kicking off here shortly, so we're going to get out of here soon, and we're going to all lock in on these two games tonight. So that series, I still go with, I think the Bucks are actually going to close this one out tonight. So let's see what we got. Now, this one kind of hurts. And I'm about to tell you guys something, and this is tough. The Warriors and Memphis. We talked a lot about Memphis just being young and dumb, and they showed it again. They beat the brakes off the Warriors. Whoop that trick, yelling up in the crowd. I mean, hey, it was impressive. But again, these are the guys, they were 20-3 without Ja, and they just go play. You give me 5, 25, 24, 23, 22-year-olds and roll the ball out and say, let's hoop. That's exactly what they're doing. They're just hooping. They're playing hard. They don't know they're not supposed to win, but they're just coming out to win and play hard. And I think their youth is exposing the Warriors for their age right now. And they kind of got at Jordan Poole. I don't know if Jordan is kind of shook up about, he's not. This might have been the first time Jordan had the media go at him about the foul on Ja. Did he do it? Was he a dirty player? So I don't know if that's gotten to his mental psyche and he's a little shook and he's not in the game. But the last 2 games, he has not been there. He has not been the Jordan Poole we are accustomed to seeing. So let's see if he can turn it around, if the Warriors can turn it around tonight. But I think in the big picture, they expose the Warriors are a little bit older than we knew they were old, but I think they're slower. Let me put it that way. Memphis is very quick. The Warriors just don't have the quickness. Steph has never been quick defensively. Offensively, yeah, he can get and do whatever he wants to do, but he's always been a liability defensively. Clay is not the Clay he used to be. We may see him get in next year, but he's getting his legs back, so he can't challenge guys defensively the way he used to. So right now it relies on Draymond. But as I stated earlier, I think we need to see a little more Kuminga. We may need to get Toscano into the game a little more because you have to match that athleticism on both sides of the ball. And Toscano, Lee, really miss Gary Payton. I think that might be one of the biggest things that are impacting this series. His defensive presence and intensity, he knocks down some shots. The Warriors are missing that right now. That is definitely a change in this series, and you can see it's been pivotal with him out of it. So let's now see tonight. Tonight is a closeout game. Maybe they just wanted to win in the Bay. So let's see if they can pull it off. So that's that one. Now, this next one, I was kind of thinking all along Phoenix would come out of here. It would be a Phoenix Warriors Western Conference Finals. Apparently, I didn't talk to Luka about that. Luka, what did he say the other night? Everybody can talk when they're down or something, but it was kind of gangster. Like, Luka is... I've liked him more and more as I've watched him this year. He's unstoppable offensively. He can do a lot of things with the ball. And right now, he's showing me that he can put a team on his shoulders and they can go. Him and Jalen Brunson, Chicago kind of representing in the playoffs right now. Jalen Brunson has turned the corner too, and Dallas is going to have to figure out how to keep him. But the two of them, and if we can get Dinwiddie to hit some shots, Phoenix could have a problem. Phoenix could have a big problem. They aren't getting the ball to Ayton enough. Ayton should be dominating this series, and it's not happening. Chris Paul, since his birthday, and I don't know if he turned up or just too much birthday, Chris Paul, I believe, has more turnovers than points in the last 2 games. Something has been off. He has not been the same. And guys, I'm watching my timer. If I get cut off here, I do apologize. I don't know what's about to happen, but it might be running me short. So I'm going to say this. Let's talk a little more. If it does go off, I'm going to come back to you again, and we're going to recap. I might do a quick turnaround if this does shut us off. But watch tonight. Let's see if we have some closeout series. And Sunday, depending, we could have 3 Game 7s on Sunday. So we're going to watch a lot of basketball on Sunday. So again, I think it is going to cut me off. Like and subscribe. Leave some comments. Let's talk about this. I got one more thing that I think my Cubs fan thought they were going to get away from me. Yeah, the Sox got that butt a couple weeks ago. So we'll talk about baseball a little more. I'm going to start slowly getting into it. We got Sox